I'd like to call the City Caucus meeting to order for Monday, October 23rd, 2023. We have 6 items for original consideration. If the clerk would please read item number 1.
Item number 1 for final consideration. An ordinance to amend Section 248-18 of the Code of the City of Schenectady to modify the limits of the one-way roadway on J Street from State Street to Liberty Street.
Discussed in committee without objection and on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2 for original consideration. A resolution to authorize a lease purchase agreement for 1 Rosenbauer Cobra MM Tower Aerial and 2 Rosenbauer Commander Pumpers for the Fire Department.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3 for original consideration. A resolution authorizing an allocation of $750,000 of ARPA funds for the 1913 North Ferry Street Pump Station.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 4.
Item number 4 for original consideration. A resolution confirming the appointment of Keith St. John to the City of Schenectady Civilian Review Board.
Discussed in committee without objection and on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5 for original consideration. A resolution authorizing the settlement of a claim by Miguel Palma.
Discussed in committee without objection and on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6 under contract and supply. A resolution awarding the bid and contract for installation of emergency equipment for police vehicles to Automotive Solutions of New York Incorporated in the total amount of $365,235.92.
Discussed in committee without objection and on consent. If there's nothing more to come before the City Council caucus, I ask. Yes. Well, we already passed it, so I'll get to that and I'll call her when it's time. If there's nothing more to come before the City Council caucus, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Ms. Patrick. All in favor? I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order for Monday, October 23rd, 2023. And I'd like to call on Reverend Ronald Hunt for the prayer invocation.
I'm excited to offer this invocation for this meeting of the Schenectady City Council this week, as I have for many years. I am moving my ministry to Ames, New York in November, and I want to thank the many citizens and city officials that I have the pleasure of working for and with over the years. This is my wish, that we always take something out of each day to be thankful for, and something to improve upon tomorrow. This opportunity to address our elected officials has a parallel. You, the citizens, have elected them to serve the city. You may not always agree with them, but they do try to meet and exceed your expectations, to do their best for our fellow citizens against many challenges, not always of their own making or choosing. We are thankful for this opportunity to seek to improve our city and its citizens. This is my encouragement to those assembled tonight, to not only address the challenges that we all acknowledge are present, but to offer creative solutions where possible so they can serve you better. Please remember not only your personal situation, but also our neighbors who are unhoused or housing insecure, those who need employment or are underemployed, those who are hungry or physically and emotionally challenged. We must always remember to give thanks that we are healthy enough to be here today. We give thanks for the education that has prepared us for the responsibility of leadership. We must find those creative solutions for the next generation of our neighbors' children who are struggling in school or in struggling schools, and pray that we would work to continue to increase access to an education that will prepare all our children to succeed in life. Remember our neighbors who live with debilitating poverty, and hope that we would work to increase the pathways out of generational financial struggle. We give thanks for the welcome we received this evening from colleagues and friends who valued our contributions to the life of our city. Let us dream for just 1 minute for a larger goal, a city and a world where everyone flourishes and where no one knows anything but peace. Thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I'd like to call on Mary McLean to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I'd ask the clerk to please complete the roll call.
Mr. Mutaveran is absent. Mr. Toro? Here. Mr. Farley is absent. Mr. Williams? Here. Ms. Patrick? Here. Mr. Palomini? Here. Ms. Porterfield?
Here. There was a resolution passed recognizing the Harts Family Cleaners at the last council meeting, so no motion is needed. And I'd like to call on Councilmember DeToro to present this resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. May I have the floor?
You have the floor.
I invite Sue and Steve and any guests they have to come forward inside the rail here. Whereas, I need to make a motion?
No, she asked for the floor.
I asked
You asked for the floor. Go ahead,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you. At the end, right?
Yes, at the end.
Whereas 1714 Union Street has been home to dry cleaning business for many years before Sue and Stephen Harts established Harts Family Cleaners 25 years ago, this is a true family business, with Steve doing all the operations and Sue handling the front counter marketing. And whereas over the years, each of their 3 boys have worked in the cleaners, they have employed many people over the years and have always given back to the community. And whereas this location has been a staple for people to find out what is going on in the community. The community bulletin board is always updated with services and events in and around Schenectady, selling tickets for various not-for-profits such as the annual garden tour and the sophomores and Seroptimus. And whereas Harts Family Cleaners has been recognized by the Schenectady Chamber of Commerce at their annual Good News Luncheon, and whereas they have consistently been awarded Best of the Best People's Choice from the Daily Gazette as Best Dry Cleaner. And whereas Harts Family Cleaner has delivered their services in and around Schenectady, serving office buildings, home delivery, and providing their services to proctor shows. And whereas Harts Family Cleaners has been a collection site for annual coat drive, Coat for Kids, supplying coats to underprivileged children and adults. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Schenectady City Council and Mayor Gary R. McCarthy do hereby pause in their deliberations to recognize, congratulate, and thank Sue and Stephen Harts for their 25 years of providing dry cleaning services to Schenectady and wish them well in their endeavor in their next life. I'd like to move this.
Yes. I need a second. Second by Mr. Palomini. Motion passes. Congratulations.
Well, we have a lot of customers in this room right now, and the mayor is one of them. And as we were going through our stuff, I came across this picture of our other mayor with our other president, and we didn't dry clean Obama's coat, but we did clean Brian's. So thank you very much. City of Schenectady has been very good to us. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen got pictures.
And thank you for the years of service to our city. Ask for approval of the minutes for October 10th, 2023. Approval of the minutes for October, moved by Ms. Patrick. Second by Mr. Williams. All in favor? Aye. Ask the clerk to please read any communications and petitions.
Communications presented to City Council for Monday, October 23rd, 2023. Under Official, from the Mayor, a list of appointments dated October 23, 2023. From the Mayor, a letter recommending Keith St. John to the Schenectady Civilian Police Review Board. Under General, from Reverend James Kanicki, an email requesting ARPA funding for the construction of a half-court basketball court in the small pocket park on Main, Wing, and Pearl Streets in Mount Pleasant. And under petitions, from the residents of Bedford Road, a petition of 74 signatures for installation of traffic calming devices such as speed bumps and stop signs, and for stricter enforcement of city ordinance for violation of pet waste disposal.
Thank you. Call on council members for any committee reports. Mr. Toro?
Thank you. So as the chairperson of the Public Service and Utilities Committee, I'd just like to announce some upgrades at the A Diamond. As of right now, today, 2 90-foot lighting poles were installed on the first baseline, 2 90-foot lighting poles were installed on the third baseline, and 4 80-foot poles in the outfield. This lighting was chosen by the City of Schenectady because it's approved for collegiate play. And each year, in addition to the A Diamond being home to Bryan and Stratton, it also hosts over 7 tournaments a year. Each tournament, believe it or not, bringing 60 to 100 teams a year to our city. So not only is it a revenue to our city, but also provides ancillary support to our local economy. And just as a side note, the C Diamond is undergoing some major renovations now, which will allow more play in 2024. But with the poles going up and utilities, I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Thank you.
Thank you. This time we have privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare the public comment on the legislative agenda closed. I'd ask for approval of the legislative consent agenda. Motion by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Williams. All in favor? Aye. Now we will have privilege of the floor regarding general city business, and I have 5 people who are signed up to speak. Just want to remind speakers that you have 3 minutes. You will hear a timer. First person is Bruce Schell.
Good evening. I'm here to discuss a resolution that went out for public comment in April, but it's a resolution associated with property that borders our property over in the city of Schenectady eastern boundary, I think it is. It's Amelia Street. Currently, it's a paper street. On Amelia Street, our back property of our lot borders that street. Currently, the proposal has kind of shut us out to have access to that back property because we have a structure on that back property that we mow and maintain. It was, I guess public comment goes into the Gazette. Or notification goes in the Gazette, the legal notification. I don't read the legal notices in the Gazette every day, but my mother-in-law, who is nice enough to pay her taxes throughout the year, she's approached the city numerous times on this property on what the status of the property would be. And every time she was told that nothing would be done with this street because, first of all, it was a secondary access to the old city landfill, and it was just a paper street, and its history would remain that way. Recently, a neighbor who just took over the trustee of his mother, who has a house that borders Amelia Street, put a proposal in, or a resolution 2023-067, and it excludes us from having access to our back property. It's kind of disturbing to me that he did that because he knows that we maintain 2/3 of that paper street. We have for the last 33 years since we live on Gray Street. And it's disturbing to me that he did that, but there's nothing I can do about that. But I would say the process should include notification of all parcel owners that surround that property, and we were never notified through the mail or anything. So the only way I found out is a neighbor found out and said, hey, Bruce, you know, this person's trying to purchase this property and you're not going to have access to it. So I called Mr. Maurice Brown immediately last Monday when I heard that, and he told me to come and speak to the council about this issue. I've got a couple of revisions to his proposal, which should keep everybody happy, you know, including him. I think it's real important to him more than me because his driveway is actually on the paper street, and it's been there for 50 years that way. That's where they've parked their cars. So if the paper street is not sold to him, he's not going to have a driveway for his house. So my proposal would be to divide the paper street in half for the length of it that goes to the old city landfill, and we would get one half, he would get the other half, or because of the fact that we've maintained 2/3 of the property for 33 years, that we would get the back 2/3 and split the front third. So I think that's fair. I think it's fair to him. It gives him access to what he needs, and I think it's fair to us that it gives us access to the property we maintain behind our shed, which has been there for probably over 100 years. The neighbors tell me at one point it was a chicken coop. It was there when we bought it. We didn't tear it down or modify it or anything, but it still exists there, and we still maintain the 2/3 of the property. We mowed it on Saturday, you know. So I think just a fair proposal for this resolution would be to divide it up where we have access to our back property from 1870 Gray Street, because we drive around with our riding mower and do the mowing and the raking and cleaning the garbage. And unfortunately for us, the backside or the 2/3 of the property is where the wind blows all the garbage and all the leaves. And each year we take a full-size dump trailer out of there of leaves. And the proposer approached us actually in the spring when we were doing our spring cleanup and said, boy, this is a lot of work, and then went back to his mother's house. So,
Okay, I'm going to need you to summarize, please.
so I would like to give a revision to his proposal. I have a written revision here for you guys to look at and decide whether, you know, this is fairer than his proposal or that we could still have access to our property.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
thanks.
Thank you very much. Ed Lavin, Jr.
Good evening. New Schenectady, same corruption. It's not Captain Noriega of the police department. It's the mayor, 3 corrupt judges, and the city council members. I can throw in the Gazette and Times Union and news stations. I've been to all of them. The mayor, who is supposed to enforce the laws of the city and to ensure justice, refuses to meet with me after I have given him and the council members proof of my allegations. City council members are supposed to help citizens when they have problems with the government. Farley has tried to get a car with a flat tire and no plates returned with no fine imposed. Palomini has told me, you can't do anything to us. I spoke to an attorney. It is your job to help me. You swear an oath to the Constitution. It's a color of law violation, conspiracy to deprive someone of their constitutional rights. And you are all complicit after the fact of Falatico's crimes and Tanika's Frost. Isopo denies my ethics complaint without a hearing, just like Falatico, who vacated my default judgment before hearing any evidence. It's called due process. I've been to Sheriff's Department, City Police 5-6 times each. They fail to meet with me, so I'll do my report online. Mr. Mayor, I have a problem with Isopo denying my ethics complaint without a hearing. I also have a problem with all council members. In the paper, it says I must go to the mayor. When would you like to meet with me? You are running for re-election. Don't tell me you don't have to meet with me. That is a mayor's job. Falatico is running for Supreme Court. Keeping his crimes of obstruction of justice is a crime. That is, if convicted of, you can no longer hold public office. I will expose all of you that do nothing. I am not going away. I will start going to news stations in different states and to YouTubers that have 300,000 to 500,000 views daily. Again, how do you justify doing nothing about Falatico, Frost, and Hoffman? At least Hoffman was smart enough to retire. I will make this my life's mission, to nail you, Mr. Mayor, Falatico, Frost, and the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Capiano.
Mr. Mayor and City Council members, my name is Tom Capuano. I'm here about the Hans Groot kill. I addressed you last month on the same subject, but since then, I've learned a lot more about the fecal contamination of that creek. And what I learned is really, really disturbing, because I attend Sunday services at a church right on the banks of the Hans Groot kill. Now, granted, my personal exposure is minimal. But imagine the consternation of those whose homes border the creek, and of those who live downstream, and of those who drink Mohawk River water tinged with polluted Hans Groot kill outflow. If they only knew what I just learned recently, that the federally established regulatory limit for Enterococcus is 60 parts per sampling. I repeat, the limit is 60. while the presence of Enterococcus, a fecal indicator pathogen, has been measured on the Hansgrohe kill at 40,000 parts per sampling. Now, those are extreme days of heavy rain, but even so, it is chronically in excess of the 60 parts per sampling. I fear that this may indicate a disaster just waiting to happen, especially with all the heavy rains that we keep getting as the climate keeps warming. Now, I also learned that the city is taking this threat seriously. That's a good thing. And that further testing has been and is being conducted, and that results are anticipated soon, maybe even as soon as the end of this month. I and my fellow congregants here with me today, we do not expect the findings to be pleasant or reassuring at all. But we do continue to insist that they be made public as soon as they are available, so that the city and the wider community can address this problem head on, and maybe begin to look at other creeks, such as the Calhoun Creek, and work to bring about remediation of the chronic discharge of sewage into the creeks that flow through this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Kennedy?
Good evening. Just a couple notes. I was going to do something different tonight, but after coming here, I found out some things that were said in the news today about last week's meeting. And I have to say this, that I've been to a lot of budget type meetings, and I got to tell you, that one was the biggest joke that I've ever seen. You know, if you're going to have the fire chief and the police chief there, at least ask them questions on what is the best way to handle overtime. You know, we had one councilman who said he wanted to digest it. Well, here's the thing. I can lay this down just as quick as possible. 500 grand out of the police budget, 500 grand out of the firefighter budget, and another $100,000 out of the police. Digest that. The problem you have is you have seasoned professionals with the fire chief and the police chief bringing numbers to this council. They're not fluff. They are based upon available manpower, contractual obligation, trends, special events, and the needs of our city. They're not there padding anybody's pension or trying to spend money that they don't have. I hear another councilman say he's tired, he doesn't want to throw bodies at it. Well, those bodies happen to be police officers, those same people who protect our city. So to even mention them in that way, I thought was a disgusting way to refer to these professionals. And just make another point: the city council doesn't throw bodies at anything. The only people who assign police officers and firefighters are the chiefs under the direction of the mayor. Unless there's something else that I don't know what's going on, that's the way things go. So if we are going to have any kind of credibility going forward into a budget that they're already calling for a shortfall, we're going to have to start taking realistic views of this. And to make $1.1 million budget cut is only going to make a structural deficit that you're going to pass on when you don't have the Democratic slush fund, the ARPA money. That's gone. So then the only thing that comes is out of the old back pocket of the taxpayers. So, you know, we got to stop this rhetoric and these bodies and, I'm going to digest this and all. You know, the bottom line, that councilman wasn't even at the meeting the whole time. And again, we look back to this, what kind of message are we giving by people not being here tonight. So, I mean, if this is going to be a real thing, we have to start listening to the people who are responsible for protecting us, and that's the police chief and the fire chief, and cutting $1.1 million out of our budget for that. That's only going to pass the budget on a deficit next year is a disgrace. And as far as I'm concerned, you want to be leaders, take a pay cut. You guys, take a pay cut. Take your health insurance, take that off the board. You don't have to pay for your health insurance, and maybe that pension that you get. So, I mean, a lot of people don't realize this city council gets those things, and they do. So why don't you push them to the side until we get the budget fixed, and then take a pay cut instead of taking a pay raise. As far as I'm concerned, you don't deserve a dime. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary McLean?
Good evening. I know the city like the palm of my hand. For 40 years, I regularly attended city council meetings. Regarding the council raise, the office comes with a salary, medical coverage, and a pension plan. When I ran for city council in 2011, one of my issues was to raise the salary and eliminate the medical coverage for council members. It costs the taxpayers less in salary than it does for medical insurance. Medical insurance increases every year. There is also another perk. If the council person has coverage from another source, the office holder is given the cash instead of the coverage. As for the noisemaker, unfortunately he is not here tonight, Mr. Farley. He says he reads contracts. I too read the contract. I was given my own copy. The contracts are filled with pork. I was told the Schenectady firemen have the best pension plan of any group in the country. On another item, a policeman does not retire on his base salary. He can use the last 3 years of his income for his retirement benefit. Therefore, a potential retiree can accrue unlimited overtime toward retirement benefits. Unfortunately, many of these workers do not live in Schenectady, which brings me to another point. Residency must be mandatory for anyone who wants a job in the city. Your recruiting methods are flawed. You cannot recruit in Albany or Glens Falls and expect people to relocate. Recruit in Ohio, Virginia, Maine. They have no choice but to move to the city. On another note, I was interested in the dialogue printed in the Gazette between Mr. Golan and Mr. Gillen on the night that the former resigned from Metroplex. Mr. Gillen insisted that Metroplex job is to bring businesses to the city. Sadly, the businesses are not required to keep their businesses clean. This is an item where council members have been remiss. The litter problem in Schenectady has gotten worse since you have been here. If I can see the litter on the streets when I visit the city, so can you. Please clean it up. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare public. Can I speak? I'm going to make an exception this time, but you know the rules, and you were supposed to sign it when you first came in.
That I didn't get a chance to write down my name. I apologize. I'm Karen Zalewski-Wiljunas. I live in the city. And I want to just congratulate my friend Sue Hartz and her husband Steve for their 25 years of longevity in the city and on to their retirement. I'd also ask that each and every one of you take a hard look at the budget and what you're doing with the budget in reference to the police department and the fire department. The overtime is something that should not be cut. I think that we need to really dive deep into this and understand that we're at the fourth quarter of the year, and those funds are going to be used very quickly over the next several months. So cutting the budget by a significant amount in overtime for next year, I think is not prudent. So I would instill you to all look at those numbers and, have faith in what the mayor puts forth. I think he's done a good job. I think the commissioner's done a good job, and I would hope that there would be some sort of consensus made where the police and fire overtime is not cut. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare public comment of city business closed. Miscellaneous business of council members? Ms. Patrick?
Yes, I'd actually like to talk about our police and our fire department. I know that this weekend was particularly tough for both our police and our fire department. Actually, between Friday morning and this morning, there were 144 calls that our fire department responded to. Obviously, needed to use overtime for some of that. It's only going to get worse for the next couple of months, which is one of their busiest times of year. And then also, the police department dealt with a homicide and actually made arrests in that homicide. So I think that really it's our duty to respect the work of all of the folks that are in the police department and the fire department. And I just want to thank them for everything that they do, the service that they provide to keep our residents safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patrick. Ms. DeToro?
Thank you. So I just want to congratulate the City of Schenectady and the DSIC for the spooktacular event this weekend at Proctor's. It happened to coincide with Encanto, and I happened to be at the firehouse, Station 1, and they were running back for all kinds of supplies because they were just running out of everything. Also coming up this week is Union College. They're doing an event for all our little ones and big ones at the college, trick-or-treating, and of course Schenectady, which will happen on Thursday night. And I'm thankful for the fire department, police department, and for us supplying that money in the budget so that they're able to do these things with our community. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. Follow up to Councilmember DeToro. This Thursday we'll have Scare Schenectady, which is coordinated with the fire department and the police department, where their personnel will go to 7 different locations, and the time is available on the city website. Want to have people come out, have a safe Halloween season. It kicks it off. Recently learned that Halloween is the second most decorated event, so people spend, Christmas is the first one, and Halloween has now moved up to be number 2, and so when you go around the city, you get to see a lot of great displays that are very festive, and some are just downright scary, so that want people to come out and be able to enjoy that. This weekend, Mr. Toro, Ms. Patrick, myself had the opportunity to meet with the representatives of the Red Cross, the fire department, for Sound the Alarm. They have pretty much made that an annual event where they come into Schenectady to work with the fire department in terms of messaging the replacement of batteries and smoke and carbon monoxide sensors, and then to actually go out in buildings where people don't have the proper equipment in place and actually install it. So I think they did 32 different residences this weekend. And then pointed out, we had we had 4 fires in the last 3 days. Again, everybody that is here, people that are watching this, it is a cheap investment, it's common sense, but make sure that your smoke alarm, your carbon monoxide sensor is operable. And then this morning we also had the opportunity to do a ceremonial opening for FW Webb. It's a plumbing supply house that's located just off Broadway. And it's just another great addition to our commercial activities that's going on in the city of Schenectady. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to offer my condolences to Councilmember Farley in the loss of his father, Herman Farley. And, you know, I was with the family today, so it's a difficult loss for them, and so my prayers go out to them. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight, for giving your input and letting us know about things that are going on in the city and what your concerns are. Greatly appreciated. We definitely listen to what's going on. And Mr. Shell, is it pronounced, I think? So I'm asking our Corporation Counsel if he could just kind of go over that particular resolution with you. All right? So if you just wouldn't leave. Okay? Thank you. And in terms of, you know, our police and fire, I just want to say and just make it clear that we all do have respect for the work you do, the difficult job you do, and we do appreciate that. And so you know, as we're making these decisions, we're taking into consideration all of the services all over the city and our residents as well. So we still have one more meeting before we pass this budget. So just keeping that in mind. And I want to thank council members for their input and for, you know, the opportunity to have discussions around the budget. So we will be meeting tomorrow for our final budget meeting, and with the hope that we will pass the budget. But keep in mind, we have till November 1st, but our goal is that we will be able to pass the budget out. With that, I have nothing else, and I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Williams. All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Have a good night. You got all your papers? So we just